Right, okay, let's bring this up. Right. So this is JXL Brass walkthrough, the sections and the mic mixes. You guys in for this? I'm curious. So, feel free to comment along. If you see something you like, let us know what it is. This is a conversation. We're all reacting to it together. We're all in the same room chilling. So here we go. Everything has to have a name attached. Brand names. Sounds like Robin Hood. I mean, it sounds good.
Hello, everybody.
Here he is.
Orchestral Tools teamed up with AAA Hollywood composer.
I get the feeling that that someone mentioned that they weren't a big fan of the German accents, because I notice now they've got the, ladies and gentlemen, Orchestral Tools have teamed up with Tom Holkenborg to create a fantastic new set of samples. I present to you the JXL Brass Library, coming this summer. Everybody enjoy. Like they've got that guy talking.
Tom Holkenborg to realize his vision of the next generation virtual orchestral brass. JXL Brass is a collection of ultra-wide range brass instruments consisting of solo instruments and sections of up to 12 players. The dynamic levels range from the quietest pianissimo to the loudest sounds those instruments can.
The quietest pianissimo. God damn. Look at these trombones. Look how much fun they're having. Look at that watch. That watch can go down to 200 meters below sea level. Fantastic.
Physically produce, and the full timbral color palette in between. The instruments and sections provide perfect articulation and range consistency, allowing for complete scaling freedom of your brass sections. Program your part with the solo horn, then try it with the section of 4, 6, or 12 players.
Okay, so what I'm not following here is sorry, I'm still in the accent. What I don't follow here is, are they key switching here, or is this happening on the fly? Does anybody know? Does anybody know if, because I haven't read, obviously I'm banned from fucking VI Control, so reading the forum is sort of a tricky thing at the minute. But does anybody know if this is happening? Oh, it's key switches, so it's not happening live. I wish that there was a way to have this trigger live, as in, like Bohemian Violin. You guys have seen me play the Bohemian Violin before, right? Because it looks seamless. What I like about that so far is those marcatos seem quite decently long. There's sometimes marcatos just either feel like fucking sustains, like they just go for like 12 minutes, or like they go ba-bam, and it's like, that was a marcato, was it? Was it? I don't think so. But yeah, like one of the things, I don't know if you guys have ever seen me like review or go over a brass library before, but one of my pet peeves is the transition from short note to long note. So when you play brass, just going to quickly go on webcam because I need to gesture for this one. So when you play brass, right, a lot of the samples, you could only really go la, 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 la. Like you could only la through things, right? But brass players have the ability to ba, 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 ba. Like, so when I write brass parts, I that's how I sing them in my head, because I always sing lines in my head before I write them down. And I always sing them with the ba, so like ba, 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 ba. And what it used to be is samples in brass libraries, the sustain would, for some reason, never have the same attack. So you'd get this ba, 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 wah, ba, 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 wah, ba, ba, wah, ba, 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 wah, ba, 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 wah. Like, and there wouldn't be the same thing. So I'm really listening here. So it seemed, because the marcato long does seem decently long, it does seem like we can do this. We can go da, 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 da. But if we listen out for the sustain, I want to know what you guys think. Is it sharp enough? Right, let's play. Come on. That seems okay.
All the differently sized sections and, of course, the solo instruments are recorded on their own. Together with the amount of recorded articulations and dynamic layers, this was a huge effort just in pure recording time.
Dynamic layers.
Recorded at the Teldex scoring stage, this collection is perfectly compatible with the Berlin Series Orchestra or the Metropolis Art collections from Orchestral Tools. With the help of the technology...
Tom's like, right, where's my name? Where's my name? Right, put my name on everything. Put it on everything.
Of the
By the way, did you guys see in the questions, Junkie, Tom here, Tom's the small one. For some reason, Henrik looks like 9 feet tall. There's something about this camera angle, actually, that's very Lord of the Rings-ish. You know what I mean? It's a camera trick, but it's like they're on the same plane. Henrik's really tall, and then Tom's really short for some reason. But anyway, like someone was asking Tom, they were like, Tom, what do you think of the brass? And he's like, it's the best brass library ever. Like, he's basically like, come at me, bro. It's the best thing ever created. And look at that face. That face means business. That is the Viking stare right there. He is like, this brass, it's got my name on it.
Orchestral Tools sign player. It also provides a flexible array of microphone positions. Those are offered very pristine and unprocessed, as is the standard with all of the Orchestral Tools collections.
As is the standard with all Orchestral Tools samples.
Junkie XL Brass goes even further. Being a collaborative effort already, Orchestral Tools and Tom Holkenborg took it to the next level by inviting Hollywood's top-scoring mixer, Alan Meyerson, to take those pristine sample
I've worked with Alan
and shape them into the image of that high-end film score sound we all aspire to.
The
results of that effort are the mixed microphone positions, which this collection...
Okay, before we move on, this right here is the definition of function over form. So we've had this discussion before. Spitfire's engine is form over function, meaning that it's a very pretty UI, but it's functionally almost useless. You know, lots of hidden things and stuff. Like, this is like the opposite. Like, it's like graphics, they were like, will a line do? Like, can we just put a line? Would that be enough? And they're like, yes, this is enough. We will make it great. That was more French.
In addition to the raw, unprocessed ones.
Okay. Before we move on, I need to find you a quote that I once did for Orchestral Tools, and because I'm going to quote it here, and I got shit for saying it, but it stands to reason here. When Orchestral Tools, right? Let's have a look. Right. So we just quickly need to watch this. This is where all the conspiracy theories, like, so when I went to NAMM. Hey guys, Daniel James here, and I'm at NAMM 2018 at the Orchestral Tools booth. How fucking pale am I? I match my hair color. What is that face? Jesus. Basically, I'm just here today. If you know me, stream. I did a whole video, orchestra recorded, but with big fucking balls. Okay, there's the phrase that we need to look at. That face. There's no good face in this. Jesus, they get worse. Where's my eyebrows? Why are they green? Anyway, but this is the phrase. Guys, for the language, Orchestral Tools. They asked me to be nice, but it's got big fucking balls. And let's just take another quick listen to these. I feel that it is accurate. Tell me that isn't big fucking balls right there. Just that fucking bum, 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 bum. I need to listen to that again. This excites me. I love the chimbassi, by the way. It's like this weird looking tuba. It's like all wrapped up, but it's just got this nasty growling tone.
It's in addition to the raw, unprocessed
The
ones.
raw, unprocessed sounds. And I've heard, like, there's comments on this video that are like, It's got no bass. And I'm like, are you listening to the same fucking samples I am? It's not about having bass. Just listen to the fucking balls on this thing.
Microphone positions are the most powerful tool in shaping the sound and appearance of your orchestral productions. There are many reasons why film score composers and producers choose certain studios and stages for their recordings. The recording venue needs to have the right size and sonic characteristics for the sound aspired to. To get the most flexibility and colors out of the recording room, audio engineers place microphones at certain distances and angles in relation to the instruments. This way, you get very up-close perspectives where the microphones are placed right in front of the bells of the brass instruments, as well as very far and wide arrangements of microphones that capture the ambiance and reverberation of the whole room, and of course, everything in between. The base and backbone of cinematic...
If I was recording this, I would literally stick a mic up the bell. Wouldn't you? Just cause. But have you stuck a mic right up there, Tom? Did you stick a mic up the bell? I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Who's this geezer? He's loving it. He's loving it.
Orchestral recordings, in most cases, is the Decca tree, an arrangement of 3 microphones right above the conductor stand.
It's got a really natural sound, hasn't it?
The AB is above and slightly behind the tree, providing a warmer, more ambient sound. It's also excellent to be blended with the tree to get a nice mix between the clear definition of the tree and the lush ambient impression of the AB perspective.
Okay, I've seen it, like, I don't know why, but this worried me. For some reason, this number up here went red. So we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So do you think that this RAM is the selected instrument, or do you think it is the collective?
An impression of the AB perspective.
Oh, red just means it's loading, right? It worried me for a second. Which is good. That means that you can play it while it's loading, right? Yeah, you must be able to play it while it's loading. Because they change it on the fly.
The AB is above and slightly behind the tree, providing a warmer, more ambient sound. It's also excellent to be blended with the tree to get a nice mix between the clear definition of the tree and the lush ambient impression of the AB perspective.
Yeah, they're playing it while it's loading. Few spikes in the CPU there.
The 2 surround mic positions JXL Brass offers provide the most ambient and far-away room sound you can get. The first one is a bit narrower and focused, while the second one is extremely wide.
That sounds great. Oh, I need it. What I like about that is it feels like the inner voices are actually, you can hear them, you know? It doesn't get mushy.
The mid position provides a perspective between the Decca tree and the close microphones. Those were set up right in front of the instrumental section and can be described as a kind of group microphones.
Sounds beautiful. Now, this may just be like poor memory, but I feel like the mic positions are actually changing the sound quite significantly here. Like I noticed with other ones, like you change the mic position. Cinesamples one was good too. Like if you bring up the room mic in like Cinestrings or Cinebrass, it does change the sound quite a bit. But with the other ones, like I feel like when you change the mic position, it doesn't change quite as significantly. It doesn't become quite as 3D. But this one, like, there's something about this hall. It was the same in Metropolis Arc as well. This hall really has a good space. It has a good depth to it, you know? A very good, clean depth. Like, you can hear that depth. It's very transparent.
Then we have the close options. They differ from each
Oh,
other
God.
according to the particular instrument. For example, for the trombones or trumpets, they simply offer different colors due to the types of microphones used here. For the horns, on the other hand, the first close mics are placed in front of the players, while the second one was set up behind them, facing the bells.
Facing the bells. Almost sounds like big band when you mic it that close. Or like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like military bands play, you know, like it sounds kind of like that. Does anybody here ever use close mics by themselves out of interest? I don't think I ever have, because it never sounds good. I mean, like it sounds like clearly I can see that it doesn't sound good by itself. I get why they're demonstrating it, but it's a weird thing to show by itself. If I was demonstrating this, I'd put the tree and then I'd just bring the close mic up, like I'd turn it up a bit so you get an idea of how it sounds. Yeah, maybe I'm seeing some good explanations, maybe for cartoons or percussion. Yeah, some good reasons there. I think, but it's funny, like, I think one of the closest, so I did this little theme. It's my, what's it called? When you donate here, it plays this. This is the brass I work with at the minute, when it's like, this is the closest I ever record. I mean, it's relatively close, but like, this is really close. Oh, that says without external reverb at the bottom there for you. Oh, God, moved the wrong thing. There you go. With external reverb, I'll put me over here. Right. Just so you guys can see that. It's done without extra reverb, apparently. It's close mic, so I didn't doubt that for a second. I feel like a John Williams piece might use this, like in a comical bit, like in Harry Potter. I forget which character sounds like that, but I've heard that kind of vibe before. Jesus, that's dry as well. It just sounds like a wet fart. Oh, 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 oh. Sample Jesus asks, has Orchestral Tools in the past provided? They have, yeah. So I've had review the Metropolis Arc ones. I were reviews because I did reviews on them. I could reach out to them. If you guys want to reach out to them too, let them know. I imagine if you guys, like, if they see interest from you guys to see me do an overview, feel free to let them know. There's probably more chance that they'll notice that way because I imagine they're quite busy. Oh, that's weird. Listen, in this one, you can kind of feel the guy's breath coming through the bell. Listen. You feel the warm air of his... Ooh, that one's a bit personal. I'm not sure.
Those are the natural, unprocessed mic positions of Junkie XL Brass. Now, let's listen to the mixes Alan Meyerson and Junkie XL provided for this collection. They took the perspectives we just looked at and prepared them for the instant Hollywood sound right out of the box. Here they are.
Oh, that chord. I'm in. I'm in, hard in. I am fucking hard in on that. I'm just hard in general. It's so good. Didn't notice that though. That is a big RAM footprint, 13 gigs. So what are we running here? How many mics? We need to check that. How many mics were they running? None? Just one? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they had close. But the thing is unless I'm mistaken, you could then bounce that down to an individual mic, right? So they have a thing. They have a thing in what's it called? They have a thing in the sine player, so the engine that this is running in. So you can get this balance that you like, and then if I remember correctly, you can merge it somewhere around here. You click a button, and what it does is it actually takes this position and it records it to your hard drive as a new microphone, and then you would only be using one mic as opposed to 5, which is amazing because then it wouldn't be 13.4, right? It would be like 1. But listen to that fucking... Did anybody else like get a little bit like not aroused, like not in a sexual way, but like musically aroused when that chord came in? Did anybody else feel that? Just, oh my God, I am so into this sound. Blood was flowing. Wow. All of them combined. Keeps getting better. Orchestra recorded, but with big fucking balls.
Additionally, there are 2 reverb passes with high-end hardware reverb units to be blended into your mix. The first one is meant for a stereo setup or the left and right front channels of your surround setup, while the second one is made for the rear channels.
Oh, I like that. So how many, out of interest, how many people here mix in surround? Do we have any surround mixers here? So usually what you end up doing is you end up putting like an ambient mic or something in the back. So what you do is you tell like Contact or you tell whatever to send mic 3 and 4 to the back speakers, and then you would have like your tree mic, your close mic, and whatnot on the front speakers, right? Now this one, it sounds like they've literally recorded, they've recorded mic positions, which is reserved exclusively for the surround mic. That's why it's complete reverb. But the thing about it is you can tell that the volume level of it is quite low as well, which is what you'd want in the back, so that when you're because you don't want the back speakers to be overpowering the front ones with reverb. You want the balance, right? I mean, I don't work in surround. I work in quad most of the time, because if you ever work on a movie or on a game, they want to keep that center channel for dialogue, and they want to keep the sub for like explosions and shit. So to be honest, you don't need to work in 5-1, just in quad, which means you have 2 front and then 2 back, which is better when you're like doing this, because a lot of the time what they do is they send mics to combined positions. So you won't send it to 1, then 2. You get like a stereo thing. So send this mic position to 1 and 2, and then send the reverse to 3 and 4. This is clearly a reverse one. Come on, the fucking balls on that. That's the thing as well. I get a lot of shit because I'm an epic composer. People are like, whenever I criticize something like Spitfire, you know, their horns never going past an MF. And they're like, well, DJ, not everybody wants to be a crappy epic composer. And it's like, well, that's not the point. It's more about the roundness. It's more about the balls is the best way of describing it. You don't have to be epic to have big balls. Like what they're playing here isn't particularly epic, but you can tell that it's got girth.
By the way, there's no reason to be intimidated by the sheer amount of options the mixer of this collection offers. The Sign Player allows you to download and install only the mic positions or mixes that you want or need.
Love that.
You can even make your own selection of those and merge them into a custom mix that will be saved permanently to your hard drive. For more information on this, please take a look.
So, yeah, look at this thing here, right? So the merge button. So you see how they've got 3 microphones here, and it's 3 gigabytes of memory. What you do is you set up the balance, and what it will do is it will listen to these it'll listen to what you've done with each one. So it'll see that this one's down at -5 and the rest are at 0. He hasn't changed any of the panning, but it'll also record the panning. You click merge, then what it does, it will record essentially all the samples again through those mic positions and download them as a new mic position, like in the Spitfire ones with the Jake Jackson mix. You're essentially making your own custom Jake Jackson mix. In this case, Alan Meyerson mix. Which is weird, because Alan Meyerson is like the Hans Zimmer guy, you know. I never really associated Alan Meyerson with Junkie XL that much, but anyway, like so those two teaming up together, and then you just record that as your own custom mix, and then you're not using up as much RAM, and that's what I talk about. So again, like the video's almost over. We'll go back to it and say, when I'm talking about being hard on certain companies because they're not composer focused, features like that are composer focused because it respects the fact that we have system restrictions. If you provide 500 microphone positions, right, and just playing 1 or 2 of them uses up half of your system resources, you know what I mean? That's not respecting the composer. That's just laziness. That's like, we recorded stuff and then, you know, deal with it. Like, this is respecting your system. This is respecting people who have lesser systems. And that is what I mean when I'm talking about composer-focused features. And it's the reason why I'm not so harsh on the Sign Player, because usually when you get a custom player, it's like just fuck you contact. I'm not getting the fuck you contact. I think I read that comment on VI Control, but it's true. It's like, this is the first player I've seen that doesn't feel like fuck you to contact. This is like, hey, we had this great idea for downloading, you know, so you could download things. We had this idea where you could merge mic positions and stuff. But in order to do it, we needed to have our own player. This one makes sense to me. Like, and not to forget, this is not an insignificant thing. It's multi-timbral. You see this? You're able to load multiple ones you're able to load multiple patches into one instance, which means that for my workflow, which is very modular, and by modular, I mean what happens in my workflow, I can show you quickly, is I have like my strings here. And what I have is I have a string, just a brass, string instrument, which is just a contact. that is empty, right? So I have all of these. You can see these numbers here. I was going to point with my finger, wait for the beach ball to finish. But you see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of these MIDI channels are just empty MIDI channels pointing at this empty instance of contact, right? And it's one of the, like, it was one of the reasons I'm so harsh on the Spitfire player is it's individual, which means if I want to, let's say, for example, I pull up a thing that I like. Let's say that we want this staccatos like that. And then we also want LA scoring strings to double it, right? I can do that. So obviously one of the downsides of the sine player is I can't load other brass instruments with it. But by the sounds of it, I'm probably going to be using all of the instruments together, so it doesn't bother me so much. But what that means is that, like, if I get a balance between these two that I like, right? So I can get that, and then I could save that as a multi. So if I'm working on another project, I can just load this in, and it will have the exact same setup that I can use, and I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. Whereas if you're using something like the, I don't know, BBC player, if you're using something like the BBC, you can only have one instrument at a time, which means, let's say, for example, I get a perfect, so the Spitfire player has multiple mic positions. That's one of their selling points. So let's say that I get a really good balance on the first strings, and then I balance that against the cello, and then I balance that against the bass. There's no good way for me to save that as a thing. That means every time I load the BBC player, I have to set that up again. Does that make sense? So let's just quickly look, because it's loaded now. So this isn't multi-timbral currently, which means that I can only load like string violins 1, which means that if I then say, for example, let's just duplicate this track. See if that works. So now that we have two engines, right? So now if I wanted to have strings 2, whatever, load that, and I don't know, I set up a weird mic. I don't know. I'm like, hey, I like the close. Oh, I can't do that because we have to wait for everything to fucking load first. We could do it on this one though, right? Yeah. So let's say that we set it and we like this mic position, right? There's like, I could save this as my own custom preset, but then when I started a new project, as you can see, I start my project blank. That's how I work. I call it a modular setup. That way, when I'm working, I'm loading in the best instrument for the job as opposed to just what's loaded because I'm lazy and don't want to go search for the best sound. That's one of the reasons, by the way, my productions, I think, sound pretty good, is because it's less about mixing and more about correct choices for the music, right? And so, like, let's say that I've got a perfect balance of mic positions between these two. I can't save that. There's no way for me to save that as a combination of the two. Whereas if you have something like this, as you can see, like when they close this down, let me find the mic positions closed down. Okay, now where is it? No, not people. Just give me the fucking, where is it? There. As you can see, look, you can get your balance here, and you could, can you save this? That is a thing. I feel like you can. But now I'm speaking out of turn. If you can't, I'm going to give them shit until they add it. But then if you could like get this balance, create your own mic position, save it down, and then save this as a multi. Like, so then all I'd have to do is load this, and this articulation list would load up exactly the same way with this shit in the same balance with the mic positions I chose. That is the perfect way to do it. Top right next to the Sasha. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. Good spot. Good eyes there, Emerald. And then you save that down. So that means that I can have the sine player just sit empty in my template, ready for me to load instruments in. But if I have something that I've already made before, let's say I'm working on a film. So when I'm working on video games and stuff and films, it's way too cumbersome to do the entire film in one project, right? So I have to break each cue out into its own individual thing. Some people make new templates and stuff, which I get, but I've often found that when I do that, I end up just relying on the instruments I already loaded. So what I like to do is I save out things that worked as multis, right? I save it as a little custom, like Black Ops multi. I have a couple of those. I have a Metal Gear multi for brass and stuff. And then when I'm working on a project, so I often start with doing like the suite thing. So you start writing your music, you write all the, you write all the themes and everything in one piece of music. And then what I'll do is I'll render out that combination as a multi. That way, when I'm writing the cues, I have the exact same setup. I have the exact same mix. I have the exact same balance, the exact same effects that I've put on the things, and it's ready to go. So it will sound like the suite. It'll sound like the thing I developed as the bank of my ideas, right? And that way you can use it over and over again through the cues. And you may end up working on a cue where you want a different tone. That's where the template would bite you in the ass, you know? That's what I mean. It's like that's a modular setup. It's a more musical focused one rather than an ease of, like, it's harder to use, but I think that you end up with a better production because of it, because you're choosing things based on merit as opposed to based on what you've already got loaded. But yeah, that's one of the things I love about this sine player is you're able to do that. So what it would do, like in my setup, it would look like this. It would literally sit here. I would just swap contact out for whatever it would be called, the sine player, I assume, and then I would just link these empty MIDI brass tracks to it. So then when I wanted to load something, I'd load it, and then I'd just jump over to here, and I would start working. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know Cubase 10.5 can, but the point I'm making is that's great for me, but what if you're working in a different DAW? What if you're working in Reaper or, you know, Logic or something? You know what I mean? You end up having to go to the DAW specific features in order to in order to cover up the negative aspect of a different player, because in Kontakt you can do it. So it doesn't matter which DAW you're in, you can use that process. You can create multis, and I don't feel like multi-timbral is that new of a concept. I feel like multi-timbral instruments have been around forever. So it's just odd that some choose not to have them. Yeah, like that, Mobius, that is the one downside that I always have of custom players, is you're tied in. The good thing about this is it seems like it's a pretty good cohesive sound. It seems like everything in it sounds decent, which is a good start. But yes, I agree. Like, I hate the fact, but I could also do this. I could just have brass, and then I don't know if you can see it here. I did this with percussion because I use a lot of percussion. So I have percussion, and then I have another one which is identical, which is percussion extra. So I may do that. Like, if it's good enough, I would have brass, and then I'd have another like sine player brass, you know? And if they ever make like a Junkie XL strings and a Junkie XL perk and they sound as good, I will have a sine player separate, because it seems like that's something I would be interested in. I do wish it would be Kontakt. I mean, it would make my life easier if we used Kontakt for everything. But the mic merging feature is like, that is something I'm keenly interested in. As someone who routinely goes between this setup, laptop setup, you know, because I travel, well, not so much anymore. I haven't left the country for a year. So that's a complete lie. But like, for someone who used to travel a lot, I used to go between laptop and computer, and I like to have the setup the exact same way. So yeah, so what do you say? Do I understand right? You have to load one sine player and stuff in there and trigger the sections like horns over MIDI channels. So that's what multi-timbral means, Fiasco. Let me just show you again. So what it looks like here is that, so you'd load all your instruments. So yeah, let me, again, I know I'm stuttering through it because I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. So if you look here, right, I have one instrument. So that's just one version of Kontakt, and all of these point towards it. So if I want to have something on MIDI 3, I have to load it in, and it has to be on MIDI 3. So if I load 3 things in, it will automatically go on MIDI channel 3. So with Sine Player, all I would literally have to do to make it work the exact same way is to change this here, the Kontakt, to Sine Player, and then assign these MIDI channels to it. And then that would mean in the Sine Player, I load whatever instrument I want. Like, so in this example, solo horn, solo trumpet, solo trombone, tuba, load those in. And then you can see here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be on MIDI channel 1. This would automatically be on MIDI channel 2. This would be on MIDI channel 3, and that would be on MIDI channel 4. And then that would be the best way to combine them together. At least that's the way that works for me. And again, not everyone has to work like me. That's not what I'm saying. But yes, that is one of 10 ways that it goes. But yeah, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Sine Player before we move on to Perk X? What do you think of the Sine Player? What do you think of Junkie XL Brass? Are you hype? Are you in? Are you out? Are you hard in? Are you hard out? How do you feel?